Rebuild or reset? What does Brian Barry Murphy need this summer? Look, it's a summer of change. It's a summer of potential. Most importantly, it's a summer of decisions. Brian Barry Murphy has arrived. But the big question is it a full-blown rebuild or just a reset? Let's dive in to what Brian Barry Murphy needs this summer. The appointment, of course. Brian Barry Murphy is not just another manager. He's not here to paper over the cracks. He is the beginning of something, or at least he should be. But what he brings is a clarity of vision, a calm and tactical authority. He's not here to shout from the touchline. He's here to educate, evolve the club. But none of that matters if the squad's not right. Do we build, or do we rebuild from scratch, or do we just reshape? Let's talk about it. So let's talk about who's gone. It's the end of the old guard. Let's start with what's already happened. The exits. So, out the door, at the end of the contract, you had Aaron Ramsey, of course, could have even become the manager at one point. The fairy tale return, but it didn't quite end with a bang. More of a whisper, unfortunately. Injuries restricted him to cameo moments, and he didn't even get that emotional goodbye that probably deserved. Yaku Mete, signed to add physicality, experience and injuries. Football injuries and inconsistency defined his stay, unfortunately. Rida Moto, oh, what a professional. You know, if rumours are true, he opted not to sign fresh terms because he wanted to be closer to his family after what was probably, you know, a real traumatic time for him and his family following the tragic passing of his brother. So look, football aside, we wish him nothing but peace and happiness. The skipper, Joe Rawls, the heartbeat of Cardiff for over a decade, a player who gave tremendous service, never hid, always grafted and always cared. Replacing his leadership and his attitude and standards off the field will be difficult. Then you've got Gutas, early promise of course, but way too many defensive lapses, probably a drop in intensity when Cyprus left, seemed a bit checked out. It just wasn't what we thought he was going to be. Jamalu Collins, on his day early on, looked a real threat down that left hand side, but persistent injuries, rumoured off the field issues just made his departure inevitable in the end. Kieran Evans, a homegrown player who never really had that first team experience, but will look for first team football elsewhere, I think is fair to say. Look, they all contributed, but I think it's right for every single one of those players to move on in different ways. It isn't just a turnover, it's an identity shift under Brian Barry Murphy. And these departures, they give Brian Barry Murphy the green light to start putting his own imprint on the squad. And tactically, mentally and culturally, that's very much needed. And I think it's an exciting time if you're a Cardiff City fan. Let's look at replacing the senior voices within the squad. In an ideal world, let's be honest, we're not in one, so it isn't where it is. But I think, in my opinion, we should be changing the whole senior leadership within the squad. That would mean parting ways with Callum Robinson. On his day, a goal scorer, very streaky, but his inconsistency, his injury record, has made him more of a bit part player than a leader. And when things aren't going well, hasn't always been great. Callum O'Dowd, a real leader, someone who's been exemplary in the way he's conducted himself. Unfortunately, at times his form hasn't been good enough. Ryan Wintle spent last year on loan, looked a shadow of the tidy midfielder that he had under Steve Morrison. For me, he's got to go. I don't think he's got the right attitude, and I thought he was quite disrespectful to the club. Perry NG, look, if he moves on, it's another senior presence out the door. His form hasn't been good. Rumours to be certain things with attitude and sulking, one of those. It's not just about ability, it's got to be about mentality. And Brian Barry Murphy, he needs different characters, different voices leading this young squad. He needs players who inspire by example, leaders with humility and hunger, not just volume and ego. It's going to be fascinating because we have got a young team, but I think a change in the senior voices is very, very much needed. Let's talk about the spine of the team and building a new spine, because I think every successful team has a real strong spine in it. Here's what I would like to see, and this is just my opinion. I want to hear your opinions. In terms of your centre-backs, I like Will Fish, and I want to see Dylan Lawler fulfil his potential. Lawler's captained Wales, he's captained Cardiff's under-21s, even though he's one of the younger players. Has maturity beyond his years, he's got the quality and he's got the ability. Let's give him the playing time. Will Fish, in many ways, is a modern-day ball-playing defender, but actually very, very old school in the way he goes about his defending. I thought he was one of our better defenders last year. Yes, he made mistakes, but everyone did. And I think they're two centre-backs that you can really get into. But I also think we need an experienced centre-back to help those two, Bagan and Jesper Darland, who are all under 25. In terms of midfield, we need that mobile, athletic number 6, someone who can cover ground, sniff out the danger and distribute cleanly. Think a League One version of Idris Gueye. Right now, we don't have that destroyer. We don't have the physicality in the midfield at all. Some people have suggested Eli King might be the guy. I'm not so sure, but he's definitely an option in that midfield. And then from an attacking point of view, this is where it gets exciting, because I think that spine can have a Ruben Colwell and an Alex Robertson in it if you get the right players in centre-back and central midfield behind them, because they're both tailor-made for Brian Barry Murphy's positional, possession-based, 1-2 touch, quick football. Then you've got your man up top, the main man, Yusuf Salic, presses from the front, holds the ball up, brings others into play, is a proper centre forward who gets goals. You get that spine right, and everything else can be built around that. And I think it's vital. And I think we've got the makings there. It's just now getting the right people in there to build on that and evolve it. In terms of what else we need, I think one of the most vital positions we need is a direct winner. Because let's not dance around there, right? Cardiff have desperately needed a direct, pacey, fearless winger for a long time. Someone like Chris Burke, Paul Parry on his better days. Someone who isolates a fullback and their first thought is to run at them, go past them. We are talking a winger who is got that straight line speed. He's got that one-to-one dribbling ability, confidence to just keep getting the ball, getting on the ball, bravery to get on the ball, no matter how many times he gets tackled or gets past the fullback and keeps going, but then also has that end product to create and score goals. We've relied too heavily on hesitant wide men who just cut back, slow the game down, or just pass backwards and keep possession. That's got to change. Exciting team requires exciting wingers. We need replacements in there who are not going to do that, or certainly not do it all the time. We need young, we need fast, we need aggressive. Although I don't think we need to necessarily have a young winger. He just needs to have the right attributes and skill set to get that directness going. And then, look, we need youth at the core of this reset or rebuild, whatever you want to call it. And this is like where Cardiff's future really does start to look a bit brighter. The youth setup is finally producing some serious prospects to be considered first team football. You've got Dylan Lawler. Look, if we could tie him down long term contract wise, he's a potential future captain. He's composed, he's vocal, he is a leader, but he's an exceptional footballer. Then you've got Joel Colwell, technically excellent, intelligent movement off the ball, scores goals, assists, can play a whole range of positions, rated as the better Colwell brother. Then you've got Joel Bagan, excellent, I thought last year. Left back, very good. Centre back, for me, is better. You've also then got Louis Giles, Kay Pacquiao, physical, versatile, fearless. Isaac Davis, if he stays fit, He will absolutely destroy teams on the transition this year. Got to keep him fit. He's got the pace, he's got the power, he's got the work rate, and he's got the ability. Keane Ashford the same. A very tricky player, very high football IQ. Eli King, he can be the 6, he can be box to box. He's got a great engine, but I would really like to see him evolve. These players, they need time in the first team. They can't just be bench players who come for the experience. We need them to be part of the first team rotation. Under Brian Barry Murphy, I think that happens. If you're good enough, then you're old enough. A coach who thrives on development. This is the perfect time for him to come in and build around the young nucleus in the squad that we've got. So let's look at, like I mentioned, in an ideal world, we'll sell this and sell that. But let's look at the ideal versus the reality. Because let's be honest, right? An ideal world, we'd probably, bring in 5 players. I don't know, say a dominant centre-back, a mobile, defensive-minded number 6, a direct fast winger. We'd probably switch out, Perry NG for another right-back, maybe Callum Robinson for another forward. Maybe you'd switch out O'Dowda for another left-back. Like, this is the ideal, but I think we've got to be realistic. Like that, 5-6 ins, 5-6 outs. Yes, it seems clean and simple and logical on paper, but is the reality. It's hard to get 5 in, 5 out in one window. The budget isn't endless. It's not infinite. Brian Barry Murphy is new and he needs time to assess the squad, the players, etc. You realistically expect 3 to arrive, I think. Let's be honest, I think 3 in would be decent. A centre-back who's experienced but also good enough, and he's a leader, has proven in the Championship, League One. A midfielder, I think an athletic number 6 who can play in a double pivot or a single, but is physically dominant, is vital. And then that winger, explosive, direct, and is looking to beat his man over and over again, brave. After that, then you can depend on who leaves, who the new manager trusts internally, what loans you want to look at, things like that. Like, you can evolve around that, but those 3 signings I think are absolutely vital. I like to look at stats. So let's use some stats from the usual websites to assess and look at certain aspects of this group. So looking at the 23-24 season, this will generally be, I'll try to be specific where possible. Ryan Wintle, in that 23-24 season where he was a bit better, he had 85.3 accurate passing, but only 0.67 progressive passes per 90. So whilst he maybe kept hold of the ball, he was nowhere near the progressive passing or tempo control that we will require this year. Ruben Colwell created 1.1 chances per 90 minutes last season, but was only getting 30 to 40 touches per game. In a Brian Barry Murphy system, you'd expect that to rise drastically. And then you've got Alex Robertson. In 23-24 season at Portsmouth, he did 1.95 tackles per 90, 1.8 key passes per 90. That's the kind of hybrid 8 that we will need this season, and he's done that at League One for a whole season. Then you've got Dylan Lawler. If you look at his youth stats, completed 90% of the passes in his own half, 75% in the final third. It tells you he's calm, but he can also progress the ball as well. In any rebuild or any reset, you have to do the eye test, but it's always good to use data, and Brian Barry Murphy is methodical. He will expect players to play the way he wants to play, not just be individuals. What's going to happen in the immediate future? Well, BBM's first 6 weeks are going to be crucial, and I think this is what needs doing in that period. He's got to establish his training principles, the standards. He's got to identify who he trusts, whether that's a Fish, a Salic, or a Ruben, whoever. He's got to assess who's buying in to his philosophy in that squad. He's got to separate any passengers from leaders. He's got to separate any people who are not on board. He's got to get one or two experienced heads, senior players, through the door to change those voices. And then he's got to give the academy lads genuine chances in the pre-season. But most of all, he's got to improve the culture, the standards, the communication, the analysis, every single part of the day-to-day running of that football team. This isn't a revolution with fireworks. It's got to be an evolution, brick by brick. And in closing, I guess I've got a few thoughts on whether it's a reset or a rebuild. Like, the question is which is it, I suppose? Is it a rebuild? A reset? Honestly, I think it's a bit of both. Like, we have a lot of things ready, but ultimately you need a structural reset, but you need a bit of a squad rebuild. I think realistically that's going to be staggered though. BBM won't be judged on what we're doing in August. He'll be judged on how this team and how this club looks in May of 2026. Like, make no mistake that the youth and the young players are here. The style at this football club is changing. We have an identity coming. The fans are ready for it. They've been ready for it for a long time. Now it's on the club to back the manager's vision. They selected him as the best man for the job. A lot of people are very excited about the potential job that he can do with this young squad. Now they've got to do it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, like talking about this reset, rebuild, etc. Please do like, share, subscribe. We do content 7 days a week, all things Cardiff City. Most days now is 2 videos or shows per day. Support that, please do. Like, it's a lot of work, but it's something that we love to do. We love bringing you the content. We love varying up the content. We love talking about different things. We love asking some difficult questions about certain players, certain positions, what the club is doing off the field. It's been a summer of change already. Who knows what the future holds? But one thing we do know is we've got a long, hard season coming. The team will need the fans, but ultimately the fans will need the team. If you can become a member of the channel, please do. It helps us create that content 7 days a week. It's absolutely vital. Every single member that joins is massive. Thank you to all those people who ordered the merch. We'll get that out to you as soon as possible. If you have got any videos or anything which you want to see us do or talk about, then let us know, and I will see you in a bit. But don't forget, keep